YouTube, and welcome to RC Construction. This is Maury. Today we're going to work on a repair job on our 1583 loader. We had some issues come up with the front right hand ram. We started getting some clicking noises coming from the ram when we were extending it, and then it's completely seized up. So we started by taking off the connector to the ram itself on the top there, and now we flip him over and we will take off the bottom and have a look inside this big baby. Always fun to find out how these electronics are all put back together again. So you're looking at quite a few screws there taking out the back, and as we pop him open there, you'll see our main motherboard sits in the back of this machine. The wiring all very neat, very well put together. We've got the set of wires there heading up into the cab, so that's the wires for the lights that you see in the cab. And then you've got all these other wires going forward. One is for the articulation joint there, and then another 3 sets of wires going in for the rams, and another 2 sets of wires for the lights. After taking it apart like this, I did realize I didn't have to take out that center screw. It could have left it together, but to take the side panel off, we had the 3 screws on the top here, and then it still wouldn't come apart. So had a look around, and what I eventually worked out is that the wheel and the very center of the wheel, you can pop that little center cog out, and in there you have the locking wheel nut. So we'll take that one out and get this front wheel off and hopefully get this apart to have a look. Now guys, please help us out. Hit that subscribe button if you like these videos so I can keep making them. Like it, share it amongst your friends, get them to subscribe for me, and we'll see if we can get some numbers up. We're doing very well. I'll be posting more regularly, so follow along. We'll lift that wheel up out of the way. And what that revealed was another 2 screws connecting this side panel on. So we'll get those popped out and take this side off and see what's going on the inside. There it is. So got him laid on the side there, and it comes off nice and easily. Still a couple of wires connected there. They lead up to that light on the top left hand side, and 2 bearing sets there. One sets for the ram and the other one sets for the arm. Importantly, we keep those nice and clear and clean of any dirt or debris. We don't want them getting locked up or bound up. And then the ram itself is a self-contained unit, so it has its own set of cog mechanisms inside there. Those cogs will then spin the screw, and the screw then extends and retracts, which lifts the boom arm. So that whole piece will actually pop out of its bearing set in the body of the machine. 2 little wires at the back there, and we'll lift that one out. Here he goes, pop him out there, and there we have the problem ram. Now we've got to trace the wires back. We need to give ourselves a little bit of working space here, so we'll just follow the wires back. It ended up being the red and the blue wire feeding from the motherboard across into the center ram. Anybody know, if you can leave a message in the comments, where I can get a replacement ram for this particular machine? If you know a place where you can get them ordered online, that would be very handy. So we'll track these wires nice and carefully back. We don't want to do any damage to the motherboard itself, and see where it's actually plugged in. This particular motherboard, this particular machine setup is very well color coordinated, so it makes it easier for you to put things back together. These ones track back, and it was the green connector on the motherboard itself. Let's have a look there. Yes, there it was. It's just connected in there. So very gently with a set of needle nose pliers, you can pull those connectors apart. You don't want to pull on the wires because you could break the connector itself. Once we get that up, out and free, we can now look at taking the actual ram apart. There's 4 screws on the top of this ram, and we'll bring in our handy dandy Doctor Who sonic screwdriver and pop those out. Once again, when I take these machines apart, when I take the screws out, I like to lay them out, set them out in the same order and pattern that they came out. And I found this makes it much easier when you're putting them back together again, if you've got all the right pieces in the right places. Here we go, taking those out. Okay, once those are out, this will actually pop apart. Be careful when you're taking these types of things apart. Sometimes they come spring-loaded. This one isn't. But there are a couple of pins and some very tiny pieces on the inside. Just a quick look on the inside, you can see there's plenty of grease in there, but what I can also notice initially when I first take it apart is I'm seeing some tiny little pieces of steel. Now, on further examination, we have a look at the cogs. We found that quite a few of the cogs had actually lost their teeth on the inside. And after taking all the little cogs out, as you can see, there's 3 or 4 of these have got major teeth missing, so this is not a repairable piece. I don't have the replacement cogs in the right size, so we will be having to disable this particular part of the machine, and we'll go back and we'll test and see if we can still get it to operate. I believe it will still operate without the second ram, but it may not have the ability to operate to the same capacity. So took all the cogs out, put the main casing back on, and we will get this fitted back together and we'll see how it goes. So all the screws back in there nice and tight, making sure that we put it back in the same position. So we'll click that into the bearing on the body side and bringing the top back across. We'll just make sure that we get the wires out of the way and that we line the bearings up that are on the outside casing so that they will sit in nice and snugly against the points on the boom and on that particular arm. And we'll get that all nicely and tightly screwed up. Guys, I hope you enjoy these videos. I've got some more upgrade videos. As I pointed out at the start of season 1, these are all the lower end toys that you can buy online. So most of them come in at sort of $100 to $150. This loader was $346, I think, when I initially purchased it. It's an extremely good machine and well worth trying to save. We'll get all the screws back into their right locations. Hook the body back up to the front end, get those cogs lined up. There it is. As you can see, very nice and neat on the inside. We'll leave that arm disconnected at this stage and finish putting this machine back together, and we'll see how it actually operates, if it's still going to be compatible. Otherwise, like I said, anyone knows where I can pick up spares for a 1538 loader, front ram screw, that would be very, very handy. Motherboard on the back here. There it is there. So all your main circuitry all sits in the back, hooked up. Your power supply is up underneath the back there as well. So, and there's your articulation for the machine. That's 2 cogs. Most of the machines, or the larger machines, or when you start getting into more expensive machines, you'll find they will be set up with hydraulic rams. So there it is, all back together again. Let's put it through the test phase, make sure it's actually still operating before we put it back into service. So we've got good full articulation on the machine, both sides. Now let's see if that arm seems to be going up quite fine without that extra ram on it. But as I said, it may not be able to carry the capacity that it would originally have. Check and make sure that the top ram there for the bucket tilt is still working. Yes. Excellent. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed watching us take this one apart and put it back together again. It's still working, which is always a great sign. Don't forget to like and subscribe to RC Construction Maury. Every subscription is appreciated. We'll see you guys on our next job site or on the next upgrade. I think upgrading the Moxie will be the next mission we'll have come out. So that was upgrading the side rams for the Moxie. something I was going to do at the start of season 1. Enjoy, share, like, subscribe. This is Maury out.